I'm excited to share a little bit with you how a typical incumbent bank looks at those topics. And you've heard already from my colleague Stepan this morning from Česká spořitelna how we look at open banking in our biggest bank in the group. And I would like to share a bit with you how that fits into our overall story. So what role does open banking and platformization ecosystem play into the overall business model, into the overall story that we want to share with our clients and that we offer our clients. I'll also try to burst a few bubbles, so please don't be surprised or offended if there's something that you might be not used to hearing in your DG FinTech millennial bubble that we've been in the whole day so far. Well, we are real incumbents. We are a bank that is nearly 200 years old, 199 this year. And believe us, we will have a really good party next year. But let me share with you a story of why we are here 200 years from now. 200 years, actually 200 years ago, not 199, 200 years ago, there was a priest in Vienna in the 2nd district who was looking for ways to improve the lives of the people around him. And at that point in time, banking services, so storing your money safely, that it doesn't disappear when you're out of your house, finding a way to save up tiny bits of your money and maybe even earn interest on it, was something that was simply not available to normal people. So people like us would not have had, well, we're probably not normal, but anyhow, people like us would not have had access to banking and financial services at that point in time. That was something that was solely available to nobility, to really, really important people in the country. And that priest, Johannes B. Weber, was searching for really good ways how to help people. And found a cool idea that had just popped up in one single country in Europe at that point in time, that was Scotland. And in that country, someone had started the very first savings bank. So saying, okay, if we believe that giving people a way how to manage their money better improves their lives for nobility, why shouldn't that be true for normal people as well? And Johannes B. Weber, together with 4 others, opened up the Erste Bank. Erste Bank is German, obviously, and means first bank. So that's why we're actually the first bank. So we were not founded as, I think nearly all other banks that I know are, to generate revenue. We were not founded to invest money. We were not founded to help big corporates work cross-country, somewhere else, expand into something. We were founded to help people. Great story, right? But 200 years old. And actually, in the last couple of years, we as Erste Bank looked very, very deeply into that story, discussing, does that have anything to do with us today? Or is that just a nice story that we put up on the wall? Actually, what you see up there is the very first savings bank's book that we ever issued. It was for a lady called Marie Schwarz, who deposited 10 shillings, and actually it took her a couple of years, but she actually really earned interest on that and could, in a tiny little way, improve her life. And we really discussed that at length, very much driven by our CEO, who actually flew around the world and discussed with other companies who had a purpose. And discussed how do you integrate that purpose into your everyday life? How do you make sure that that really stays relevant in what you do? And we actually came back again and again and again to that, how can we still make sure that with what we do in our region improves lives of normal people? We're a bank sitting in Vienna with 7 different countries. We operate solely in Central and Eastern Europe, and we decide again and again that this is the focus that we want to have, that is a region where we really know the culture, understand the culture where we want to operate in. And just give you one example. In one of our countries, 42% of the customers that we have are at or below the living minimum wage in that country. It's Romania. It's perfectly normal there. And we don't have a bad client segment. It's just normal. Most of the population is barely at the minimum of just coming by, right? Second example, in one of our larger countries, about 40% of the population does not have enough money in their account to be able to pay for a new washing machine if the washing machine breaks down. So improving people's lives by making sure that they spend less on everyday spendings, that they save a tiny little bit more to have that liquidity buffer so when the washing machine breaks down you actually can pay for it and don't have to take up a consumer loan for that, is something that really changes lives. And so we decided, well, this is still highly relevant for us. And this is still how we want to conduct our business, how we want to deal with our clients, making sure that we help them, and making sure that we give something back to the society. But obviously today in a completely different kind of way than we did that 200 years ago. Completely different kind of way. Well, if we look at our clients, 16 million clients, 7 different markets, what we understood very clearly in the last years is every single one of those clients is completely different. And I personally must understand, I'm responsible for the retail business, and I've been responsible for the retail business in one of our countries for 8 years. Being responsible for the P&L. I'm now responsible for the retail business transformation for a couple of years. Some years ago, I was very much on that. Now everything gets digitized, and every single person wants to be as digital as possible. And everyone wants to do everything digital because it's just so incredibly convenient. Well, I don't touch paper, actually. I don't work with paper. I work as digitally as possible because I just love that. And I always assume that everyone else is like that as well, right? Talking to clients, you very quickly realize clients are very, very, very different. And just to give you a couple figures that you get a feeling. 2 of our most digitally mature markets are Czech Republic and Slovakia. You heard Stepan talk about it earlier. In Czech Republic, about 66% of our clients are digi-savvy and use online banking services regularly. That's a lot, but actually it's still 2/3 of the population. So 1/3 of the population is still not using online banking services regularly. So you're 70%, well, that still means that there's 30% that are left out at the moment, right? Completely different example in Romania, 25% of the population uses online banking services, either app or browser, whatever. 3/4 of the population does not yet at all use online banking services. Even though they are in the market, they exist, you can do something. You can't do everything, you don't have a digital signature yet, but still, clients, for whatever reason today, chose not to do that. Third example, Croatia, very interesting to me. Croatia leapfrogs at the moment from a not very digital country into a completely mobile-driven country. In Croatia, everything is about mobile. Everything that does not happen in an app just doesn't happen in the market. In a speed and in a dynamic that it's incredible to see and really interesting to see. So, us being in all of those markets, us having in most of those markets a market share that is 25% plus, in some markets nearly 40%. We need to find solutions, we need to find ideas, we need to find ways to communicate that on one hand we are true to that purpose, but on the other hand we don't lose any of those clients. It's great if we are on the edge with our digital innovations, and we actually are, but we still have to make sure that we cater and communicate and bring the best possible services to all of those other clients around there as well. And today, those clients still do not want to be solely digital. More than 80% of our clients regularly visit branches. Regularly meaning at least twice a year. No, not all of them go there every week. Absolutely fine, no one needs that actually. But more than 80% of our clients regularly go into a branch, even though those processes would be available digitally in a very good process. Not that the process is fully broken, they do go there. And yes, this is changing, this is moving, but it's actually moving only very slowly. So we believe that we still need branches, but branches in the future will be completely different than they are today because they have a completely different function. branches slowly but consistently move from something very transaction-based to something that is very much advice-based. So this is a space where you have good meetings and talk to people, and to a space where you onboard clients into digital. I'll talk about our digital online system in a second, but just to say that here because it fits, more than 80% of our digital onboardings into our digital platform happen in the branch. They don't happen with a customer sitting at home. And again, they could do it at home. It's fully fine. No, they happen because an advisor talks to a customer and says, by the way, let me show you something. Let me guide you through. Let me show it with your personal data that you see that it's really beneficial for you. This is one of the most important tasks for our customers and for our advisors in the branches in the future. One of the most important things. And if you think about how does a space look like that enabled, this obviously looks completely different than the branch of the old with the cash desk in the middle. Cash desk, not really something. We're also digitizing all of these advisory processes, all of these branch processes heavily. It's completely normal for us by now that advisory processes happen in a tablet. They don't happen behind a big screen and the advisor is hiding behind that screen and looking at the client. They happen with an advisor and a client sitting together, the client having the tablet in his hand, and the whole process is guided through. Are we there yet for 100% of everything? No, not yet, but we're moving, and we see actually that the results are really, really good in the middle. We are increasingly using really professional data analytics to everything that happens in the branch. And Czech Republic, we talked about that earlier, is actually by far most advanced in that. We're now moving to all of the other countries with an advisory concept that really uses professional data analytics and predictions to be able to give the client advice to how to spend less. So we actually mostly talk in the very first step about what can we do together to improve our customers' finances by decreasing the spending on energy, on telephone that they actually have. This is something that is happening today in all of our branches. At the same time, we obviously highly digital. We opened up our very own FinTech 2012, my gosh, nearly 6 years ago. And at that point in time, really open it up as a lab. Give some guys some money, let them start developing with a whole co-creation story we've heard a million times by now. That's completely normal. That's the way how we work today. We're in the middle of rolling out that platform. It's called George. Yeah, you just see it very small up there. It's called George. Across all of the group at the moment, we have nearly 3 million clients active already. And we will have it available to all of our clients, at least in somewhere second quarter of next year. And in George, we obviously have all the magic that digital can offer to our clients. So automatic categorization, budgeting, blah, blah, blah. All of that is already in there, and we see that our clients take it up. Same thing on the mobile. But also that, just to give you a feeling, we're obviously able to advise and sell to our clients in that platform. Well, if you look at digital sales processes that start online, for example, for a very simple product like a consumer loan, you might be surprised that nearly half of those processes end up in a branch in the end or end up in the call center. The process is perfectly fine. You can just conclude everything in that. And if you talk to clients and say, well, you could have just clicked on it and you had the money in your account immediately. So why it didn't? Well, I just felt better talking to someone before I finalized it. So meaning for us, we on one hand have to make sure that those customer journeys that cross different channels are really, really sleek and smooth and really happen very professionally, and that we can track them, we can manage them. But on the other hand, it shows we need to give our customers a choice. We need to give them the option to conclude the process the way they want it, because in the end, it's their choice. As long as we make them happy and we do the deal, we're perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine with that. And we obviously do partner a lot on all of this, because we realized already years ago, partnering makes us a lot faster, partnering makes things for us a lot easier, and we do that on a group level, and actually, especially on a group level, if you're talking to a FinTech, talking about 16 million clients, that's obviously interesting. is interesting to a lot of fintechs, so we do that already. Let me just give you 3 different examples that you have a feeling of what's really already happening on the platform. The first one is something that we're in the middle of rolling out at the moment, and that's actually a good example. We wanted to roll it out last year. It is a real life event-based prediction system for cash flows of our clients. So you can simulate in that system, if I lose my job today, what would happen? Or a lot more positive, if I buy that house today, what would happen? And not just for the next couple of weeks, but for the next 30 years. And you can really simulate and use that. And we see very good uptake in the beta testing that we're doing at the moment. Interesting enough, we did that together with a fintech, started testing for the first time a year and a half ago on real life data, and realized together with the fintech the algorithm was complete crap. So the poor guys had to go back home, develop everything really from scratch, delete the whole thing, develop it back from scratch, test it on real life data, and now we have something that we feel that is really so good that we can go out with that and show that to our customers and show that to our clients. Second example is my home. It's live in one of our countries. We already talked about it. It's like, I see that property. I want to know what that property is worth. I want to know if my bank would finance me for that property. That's also something that we developed together, in that case, with a Slovakian fintech. Unfortunately, they only have the data for Slovakia, and we're now pushing into the other countries because I would love to have that everywhere. Third example, also developed together with a fintech, in this case, actually in Romania. Plus and Cont is a loyalty-based cashback system on the credit card and on the current account. So you just activate in the app the offers that you might be interested in, and whenever you buy something from one of those merchants, you immediately get the cashback directly into your account. The fintech does the acquiring and does the data analytics. We do all the communication to our clients and the integration to the app, and we had that in less than half a year. So stuff like that is stuff that we actively work on, and that increases our services and offering to our clients all the time. But there is one thing that is highly important to us, and that is everything around trust. We heard that a few times already, we see still the need to keep a very, very careful balance between openness and openness of the data and trust and full transparency to our clients. And at the moment, if we talk to our clients, we're very true about sharing of their data. Actually, most of them are quite nervous about that. And only if we really show that they fully have it in their hands, that they can manage, that they can switch it on and switch it off, most of our clients are more or less fine with that. So also there, it's a lot about trust. It's a lot about choice. It's about giving the customer the choice to do exactly what they want or not. Offering it up, but making sure that it does not in any kind of way damage the relationship that we have. Because that trust in financials, but also trust in managing the data in the right way is actually, in our perception, the most important USP. And if we want to improve people's lives in our region, we need to have that trust. So that's the biggest asset and the biggest value that we have. That was just a very short overview. Whenever you want to learn more, I'm really happy about that, and I'm happy to discuss later on. Martin.